Hello and welcome to the Nova Show Real Estate Records. My name is Tristan Hammett and I am your host for today's episode. And today I am thrilled to have Jacqueline Perry, an award-winning realtor serving Salt Lake City and Park City. With a background in luxury hospitality sales in New York City and Miami, Jacqueline brings unparalleled expertise to Utah real estate. Recognized as Regional Rookie of the Year, a top 500 realtor, and the top producer on her team, Jacqueline is passionate about helping clients build long-term wealth through real estate. Her client-first approach and dedication to success make her an industry standout. Stay tuned for an inspiring conversation with this powerhouse agent. Hello and welcome, Jacqueline.
Hi, thanks for
having me.
having
Called
me.
Jacqueline or JP?
JP's fine.
JP? Okay. All right, so we've got JP here and she's actually never met me. I know who she is because she was on a panel for Women's Council a couple years ago.
Yep.
And I was so inspired by her story, and I'm so glad that you decided to, or that you took this opportunity to come on here, and you said yes.
Thank you for having me.
So I know a little bit about your background, but if you could tell us where you're from, and then how you got into real estate here in Utah.
Yeah, so from a handful of places, but moved here in 2020 from New York. I was there for 10 years, and between New York and Miami for hospitality, and ended up here during the pandemic when we decided we wanted to ski and enjoy all the perks of Utah and get out of the madness of the city.
Yes, a lot of people move here just for the skiing.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's awesome. Okay. So tell me, I want to talk about this luxury hospitality. Did you go to school for hospitality? Okay.
So communications major, and then started my first job at the Standard in Miami Beach, which was an Andre Velaz property. And nothing better than living on the beach and working at a hotel, so it was amazing. And then was granted a promotion to move to New York, and I worked with the Gansevoort and meatpacking for a while, and then was at several different places. Ended up launching the Edition brand, which is with Ritz-Carlton, Marriott brands, and was in hotel sales operations. And
did you get to travel around?
I did. I did a lot of traveling, so both domestic and internationally. So
cool.
And during the time, I oversaw different segments such as tech, entertainment, sports. So I oversaw all of our press junkets for movie premieres and TV show premieres. So a lot of hands-on, but also sales as I managed room blocks and different events.
That is so neat. Okay, so so you came here in 2020 to ski, and how are you? Well, first of all, how are you liking it here?
I love it. It's home now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just absolutely love these Utah. I'm a transplant too, so
From
Arizona.
Oh,
so
okay.
definitely different scenery here.
Yeah.
And for you too. So okay, so you came here, and then how did you get into the real estate world?
So when we were in New York and the world shut down after our marriage, or wedding I should say, on March 8th, we came back to the city. World life as we knew it was different since we got married in a different destination, and came back, and I was still working. I was one of the few that has remained in my role as they laid off maybe about 90% of the company and furloughed them, and so I was one of the ones that they opted to keep on. Thankfully, I was very grateful for that opportunity, but had a lot of time for reflection. When you're locked in a 47th floor high-rise in downtown New York, you start to reflect and think, is this really what I want? There has to be more. And so we had been looking. I had just gotten back from a big work trip to San Francisco, and a bunch of my tech clients were talking about Salt Lake City and Lehigh in Utah. So when we were sitting there thinking, where would we go? My husband had just come back from a great ski trip in Deer Valley. Okay. And so Utah became the topic. And he said, you know what? There's tons of hotels you can get a job. And I said, I'm not interested. Like, I'm so done with it. I really want to own my own business. And he said, if I can give you a year runway to do whatever you want, whatever you've ever wanted to pursue, no questions asked, what would you do? And I said, I've always wanted to pursue real estate. So he worked remote, and I started looking into real estate and getting my license, and found a team that I started speaking with, and I just kind of had that conversation. We flew out, met them, and I got my license from New York, and then we moved here and I started my career in real estate.
Wow. Okay. So what year did you actually get licensed? Is that 2021?
I got licensed in September of 2020.
Oh, in September of 2020. Okay. Wow. Okay. And that was like a wild market. So, and then from what I remember, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you've been top 500. Was it after your first year even?
Yeah.
Like how? This is like these podcasts where people are not from Utah and don't have the SOI.
Yeah.
Like these are my favorite because you really had to build from the ground up.
Yes.
So how does one not from Utah just moving here become top 500?
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting my mentors, Lee Stern and Josh Stern, and they did change everything in my career. I decided that I wanted to be a really good student and listen and also apply what they taught me. And, on days that no other agent was in the office or they were coming in at noon, I was there at 8. I was usually the last one to leave, and I made sure if they had a listing appointment, I was jumping in the car or anything I could tag along, and really made sure to make sure my investment into real estate I was going to see a significant return. And I set really mindful goals for myself too that first year. But choosing mentorship was, for me, everything. And everything they told me to do that, I still do and apply to my business. I mean, I don't love to prospect, but it sure is powerful. And that's something that they taught me, and among many other things with investing. And but yeah, finding great mentorship and really applying the skills that they taught me.
Wow. Okay. So how did you get your first deal?
My first deal, oh goodness, I can't even think. It might have been, since I was on a team, we would get all sorts of leads. I can't remember. It's so funny. It's not even that long, but I can't remember my first deal. Actually I do. My first deal was an open house lead.
Okay.
Yeah, Jesse and Rebecca. I do remember them because they're dear friends. I held an open house, so at the time when I started, one thing I knew was I was sacrificing all of my Saturdays and Sundays during the pandemic. So I was working 7 days a week, but it was an opportunity. I knew open houses and being in hotel cells and going to large conferences. I loved being on the floor at huge conferences because you could just pick up so many clients, and it was a face-to-face that I loved. So open houses, I was in there. I mean, we were having 20, 30 groups at the time, and I was just adding to my database. And it was really, I found that was a really successful, I think a successful approach for me in my business, especially because it kind of, I found where I was best, and it was that face-to-face. And so they were my first clients, first-time buyers. I remember it was a little open house in Sugar House on Blaine, and they came through and they started asking questions, and we had some things in common. They were also transplants, and I helped them buy. I've now helped them sell, and so yeah. But that was my first open house.
Okay, so I was in a class the other day, and if I was an agent, open houses would definitely be a pillar in my business for sure. I don't love cold calling, so I'd probably be making every excuse not to do that. So open houses for sure. And this agent said, I don't do open houses, like not even for my own listings. And I was just kind of like, but why? Like so many agents, especially the ones that don't, like that I've heard from that aren't from Utah, have built their business on having open houses, a lot of them. So can you help us through, like, what does your how open houses look like? Are you talking to everyone that walks through? Are you trying to make a connection? Are you just letting them pass through and then you keep their information? Like, what is your process for open houses?
Yeah, I mean, I think going into open house, and I've been to some really great open houses. I've been to some where I walk out disappointed, is I never sit down. I'm always standing. I'm always available. I never linger behind someone, but I do, as soon as they come in, I ask them certain questions. How did you hear about us? How long have you been looking? Are you looking for yourselves? What drew you to this house? Is there someone that's assisting you in finding a home? Are you familiar with what the market looks like today? And I find when you ask those questions And it's not throwing words out that are scary like agent and lender. And, you know, you really find a certain approach on how to present the questions to get a response. And, you know, that's when you start to have people open up to you. I like to call the neighborhood too before an open house that I'm holding. Invite neighbors in. That's a great way.
Wait, you call them or you door
I
knock?
call.
You call? How do you? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So of course, there's different farming tools that you can pay for, but I'll invite some of the neighbors, or if I see them, you know, if I'm out there like and I'm getting the listing ready and I see them outside, I'll always go up to them and invite them. But it helps to create traffic, especially in a market like we are in today, you know, where open houses are a little bit softer. But I think then it's like you're not, you know, you're just inviting them, right? People love to be invited to stuff.
Yes.
But I think just having the approach always best foot forward. You know, one thing that one of my mentors taught me, you know, go in with a mindset, invest in your open house or grand opening, pay for the balloons. Like people sometimes don't see the for sale signs. Like pay to have nice signs. It's a representation of you. You know, don't put up a sign that maybe you've ran over 3 times by your car. like really put effort into what you're doing because people notice. You know, dress business casual or like show that you love that you're there. And people feel that and they get really excited, especially, you know, I think a lot of times unrepresented buyers come through open houses because they may have had some really poor experiences with past representation. So it's an opportunity to sell yourself and really know the market. Go in knowing interest rate, comparables, any programs that may be available in the area through different banks, you know, power of concessions that may be offered by sellers, etc. Any value add you have, it's a great opportunity to build your business. And if they're not ready, then at least to have them agree to add you to their database or add them to your database.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you just gave so many great pointers. I have never heard of anyone calling the neighbors. That's very smart. Okay. All right. So are you still doing open houses?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. And then are they all your listings? Do you also pick them up from other agents?
I pick them up. So when I business plan for the year, I look at seasonality. I like to ski, so I know winter months I'm going to protect my weekends a little bit more. I will, you know, really try to leave at least 2 Saturdays open. Spring, I know that's my weekends are, they're just so precious. I will give those up day and night for open houses, grand openings. It doesn't matter if it's mine, someone else's. You know, I think it's always about the opportunity to help people and also build your database. And I think if you're really passionate about real estate, it's kind of exciting to go into a grand opening. I love it because you meet so many people. And I'm a transplant, so I meet so many transplants, and I love sharing restaurant recommendations. I mean, I've got an ongoing restaurant list where if somebody doesn't want to use me as an agent, I'm like, great, I'll send you my restaurant list. And then they start to reach out over time because just something so thoughtful as passing out restaurants, right? And not saying, sit down with me for a buyer consultation. You know, those are things you can kind of plant seeds along the way and they come back to you. But it is nice to be able to be an advocate of a place you love and you call home.
That's so smart because we're still in need of a really good Mexican food restaurant. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's not.
So it's like, but that is such a
yeah.
helpful tool because if you move here, it's like even like finding a hairdresser was difficult. Finding, you know what I mean? Like the local groomers, like finding like people, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like I've tried out quite a few that I've just like found online, but it's like a recommendation from someone is totally different than just Googling, you know?
And it's building rapport.
Yes.
It's natural. It's not forced.
Yes.
So I think when people see kind of the vulnerability in you, but also the realness and genuine features of you, you know, it's a much... People warm up to that versus, are you working with an agent? Yes, shut down.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, even if you're working with an agent, I mean, I had a grand opening 2 weeks ago and I had an agent text me on the side and he said, I want to thank you for being so nice to my client, even though you knew I was representing her. Yeah. And I said, of course, she's someone's client, you know, and it's a representation of me because I was holding my client's listing, you know, or grand opening. But I think a lot of agents just shut down because they only look at it as a business opportunity. But you never know who's going to cross your path, and maybe they're not going to work with you, but if they remember your name, maybe the next time their brother or a neighbor needs something, they might say, I had a great experience with,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I love that. And okay, so we have the open houses, and is that currently, what other strategies do you have for prospecting?
So I do a lot of farming, obviously. I love to call my just solds in the area and just let them know I just represented this client. You know, especially if they've gone on and put their experience with me as a 5-star review on Google. That's always great because then they can go and read that testimonial. Sometimes I'll just call my neighborhood, you know, and just say, hey, just want to give you a market update. You know, there's several different things, and obviously you have to be mindful of certain laws in place, right, when prospecting. But I'm a big fan of cold calling. I think if you do it coming from a place of value, people are really receptive to it, and people are always curious about the market, especially in Utah with the way that we perform and outperform so many other markets nationwide right now. But mailers, I do mailers, you know, sometimes it feels like a little bit of a slow burn, but you know, I know it works and it just takes time, but it's something I commit to every month.
Do you farm your neighborhood?
I mean,
like you said, you called your neighborhood. Do you send mailers like to your neighborhood? Or you?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I send mailers to all of my past clients.
Okay.
So just try to stay relevant, but you know, I think those efforts and top of mind and calls, you know, you call your SOI and, you know, you never know. And it could just be a small act of kindness, you know, not necessarily even just to talk about the market. Just drove by your house, just thought of you. Or I remember this is the time that we did this. Like, what a great memory.
Yeah.
Just touch points to remind people. And I think if you really love your clients, which I do, it's easy. So it just doesn't feel forced, and it's something over time you're just doing regularly because those are people that have just been so amazing to you in your business.
Yes. So what I've heard from you too is that you've become friends with past clients.
Very close.
Yes. So obviously they are now your SOI. How else have you built your SOI?
So I do a lot of client events, tastemaker events. I try to make them really funky and fun.
And is this through your brokerage or is this by yourself?
Just by myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do, sometimes I'll have like a barbecue at my house and I'll bring in a band, or I'll do a volunteer event or ski event. I've done tailgating, like mountainside, and then everybody meets for like, we'll do a full spread of breakfast and Bloody Marys. Maybe a little dangerous, but it's fun. But things like that,
fun.
the tastemaker events. And they, you know, always allow them to bring friends because it's another opportunity to meet someone.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. I love all of those ideas. And so I know the brokerage that you're with. They have a very like luxury brand. Did you put that into consideration when choosing a brokerage?
I did. Yes, I did. There were so many factors about the brokerage that I opted for that were really in line with my values and the client servicing that I wanted to offer. And I felt it was such a powerful brokerage for me and my clients and what they were being delivered. And every brokerage has to fit for every person, but my brokerage I'm with now just ended up being the perfect fit for me, coming from luxury hospitality and being in a really, you know, New York being one of the busiest markets, right? Arguably maybe next to Hong Kong, let's say, when you look at hospitality, but it is doggy, like, you know, and that was like, you have to really be able to navigate through a busy market and still keep your client happy and make sure you're not missing opportunities to give them a 5-star experience. And I felt with the brokerage I opted for, they're always doing that and really being innovative and thinking ahead to just get creative and always enhancing that experience, which I thought was exciting.
I love that. And do you do any prospecting on social media? Or are you on social media?
I am on social media. Don't go on there.
Okay.
It's not.
That's fine.
It's not my strong point. So.
Yeah. Okay. And are you on a team now? Or no, you just started on a team.
Started on a team and then moved over. I brought
Okay.
one agent from the team I was on. So I had a team within a team when I was at the old brokerage. And I brought one agent over who's a rock star, and I knew he was. So he's been working with me for about 3.5 years, and now we're looking to add a new person.
Okay.
And we'll keep it intimate. We never want to be a bigger box team. We just feel for us personally kind of loses. Like, we really want to have some very tight-knit relationships within a team, but also we understand the power of having a team because we work really hard, but we play so much harder by travel, and we always want coverage. And our clients love that about us because sometimes when I'm traveling, they're like, don't worry about it, I called Alex. Like, we've just created this. So yeah, it's been a really...
That's awesome. Is one like a showing agent, or how do you guys, what's the dynamic?
So he helps support a little bit. He's a buyer's agent in his own. He also takes listings, but also will help with showings. And then, we look to duplicate that role too, since, we never want to slow down with business or take our foot off the gas. And now, we're 2.5 years, well, I guess I should say we're about 2 years and 2 months with this new brokerage, and now we're seeing the fruits of our labor. And so this is why we'll add someone, because now the phone consistently rings, we see the referrals, and you never want to turn away business.
I love that. Okay, you said referrals. So referrals from other clients?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so you're adding this third person. Do you have a TC or do you do that?
No, we have an amazing TM, so all of that is in-house with the brokerage we're at.
Okay.
And yeah, she's phenomenal.
I'm a big advocate for getting a TC. It's like, why just get that into somebody who does that full time? They know exactly what they're doing, and that gives you more time to be with your clients and to prospect. And so I'm a big advocate for that.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
Okay, awesome. What are you seeing out there right now? So if a potential buyer calls you and they're asking you about the market, what are you telling them, and what questions are you seeing from buyers?
Good question. I think it varies county to county, whether it's Summit, Weber, Utah County, Davis, Salt Lake. I think, and it really does vary, because is it a transplant? Is it a local? Is it someone that already has equity and is looking to upgrade? But really qualifying them and understanding their needs. I think listening is really important, and that's something my current broker always says, and I hear it loud and clear, because it is true. As agents, we love to talk, right? So I think really digging deep and understanding what their goal is, and also what social activities are important to them. Are schools important to them? Are they a first-time buyer? Are they a seasoned buyer? Cash, finance? Are we looking at creative financing? And if it's a transplant, really helping them to navigate through different areas. I think just understanding as much about the client as possible, but also being able to give some really good resources for financing. It still amazes me that people don't understand what rate buy downs are, or that sellers are offering seller paid concession. Or opportunities to be a parent and have your child on loan and be able to tap into FHA financing for them and not pay taxes on a secondary residence. There's all of these creative tools out there. And I think knowledge is power, but making sure to understand what's going to be best for them. But those are some of the questions out of many.
Yes. That is really interesting, because I think that's a part that a lot of agents miss, is the questions and the listening part. People are so quick to get to that document being signed, like the buyer broker, or a listing agreement or something, that they're not actually like listening to the needs and the wants. And I love how you said it depends on like the counties and the FHA or just really listening. But you can't, I'm trying to say here, you can listen, but if you don't have the knowledge of the tools and the programs that are out there, you can't really help them. Yeah. So it's really important being on top of what the market is doing, what programs are available, your lender partners, and how they can help support, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the creative financing, that's a whole other thing, so you have to have the knowledge in order to hear what the clients need and how you can support them and help them and guide them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of what you're saying is great. I have found like through this podcast that common denominators between top producers, as you mentioned, mentor.
Yeah, mentorship.
Education, getting into the office at 8 a.m. Like, I'm telling you, like, these make differences in your business.
Absolutely.
And I just love that your husband was like, here's a year to just go and do it, you know, and that you really just understood what is needed to be done in order to like have a thriving business.
Yeah, and I think you ask, you know, I still never shy away from asking because I do not know it all. I learn every day, and it's partly why I love real estate, because it keeps me stimulated. I am like Bird. I'm off to another like world, but I never stop asking questions, and I'm never going to say that I'm shy to say I don't know. And clients will ask me questions sometimes, and my response is, I do not know, but I will get you the right answer, and they appreciate that because sometimes people may blow smoke to kind of offset uncomfortability of not having the answer. And I think it's a really bad approach because it'll bite you in the butt. And also, you know, clients remember that if you gave them the wrong information, but real estate's so awesome because you're always learning and things are always changing. And if you can keep up with that, it is a sure way to get someone to sign a buyer agreement, get a seller to sign a listing agreement, get an open house lead to convert. You know, it's just knowledge it's such a powerful tool in this industry.
It is. And every transaction is different.
Yeah.
You're never going to have a transaction that's exactly the same. Every transaction is different. And I'm really glad that you pointed that out because especially for the new agents, that can be kind of like they feel like they can't, like they have to know everything, and it kind of sets them back because they're like, I don't know everything about real estate, so I don't want to sound like I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I don't want to come across like I'm new but it's like you will never know everything. Yeah. You know, there's people that have been in the industry for so many years and something comes up, they're like, I've never seen this before, you know?
Yeah.
And so like you'll never know everything, but having the confidence in saying, you know, that's a great question. Let me find out the answer for you.
Yeah.
You know, that right there, I'm like, okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, telling them something that's not true or that you really don't know and then you just give them false information, like that's the wrong way to go about it.
Absolutely.
So I love that you pointed that out. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, all right, what is your like favorite like listings or buyers?
Oh,
I know.
Nice people.
Nice. Okay, there we go.
No, I honestly, I don't know how I pinch myself all the time. I find myself and my colleague, like we are so fortunate to have such amazing clients, and I don't know if energies are just, my husband, if when he sees this, he's gonna laugh. He's like, energies, but I don't know if like our energies are just drawn together, or you know, maybe the commonalities. But we are so fortunate. Our clients are unreal. They're people we want to hang out with. They're people that we want to do business with again. You know, I don't know if there's a particular, I can't pigeonhole myself to say there's one type of listing, one type of buyer. Do we love luxury listings? Absolutely. Do I love someone that calls me and is like, help, I have never sold before and I don't care what price point it is? Yes, because I know they're going to listen to me, take my guidance. They're going to be so happy with the process. And seeing someone tap into their equity at closing, it almost makes me cry every time. Like, yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's life-changing. Real estate is life-changing for so many people. And I love first-time buyers. Like I love inquisitive buyers, but also some of my highest price points have been some of the most gracious people I've ever known. So I can't really say I've got a favorite. I just love good people. And it doesn't matter the price point, and it doesn't matter where they're located. I love good people.
That's probably why you attract all these cool people that you love working with, is because like energies. You also, the energies. I'm telling you, like you're so just cheesy. Like you're like, oh, you're a jerk. Like it just stays away, you know.
Well, I think when people feel you're passionate about real estate too, you know, and I get a lot of people that come to me and they're like, I had a horrible experience before, and those are the like my favorites. I'm like, oh. You're in the right place. Make this such an amazing experience and go above and beyond. But I think, you know, and it's nice to feel trusted. But yeah, I just love working with great people that have a passion in real estate and, you know, are excited about a good client servicing, you know, experience.
I think that's a huge part of this business. And I love that you said passion, because people can feel that.
Yeah.
When you don't love what you're doing, no matter what industry you're in, people can feel that, and you come across a lot different. Yeah. When you're passionate about something, you're excited, and then that gets them like, okay, I'm in good hands. Like, she loves what she does. Like, this is going to be amazing. So I think having passion about anything you do in any career is really important. So, well, that's great. Thank you. And where do you see yourself in, I know you're adding on someone new, but where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Well, I mean, I'm a big planner, so I plan everything. In the next few years, ideally, I would like to have maybe 2-3 people that are on my team. And, you know, I'm still doing the same thing, maybe more focused on listings and have enough business that I can focus on those listings and help grow my team. I love teaching people how to take their business to the next level if they're willing to commit and really do the time. And I think from a leadership perspective, that's where I'd really like to be, building my business and just building some really rock star agents that, you know, have the same vision as me. And yeah, that's where I'd be.
Anybody would be so lucky to learn from you, because you've really, in almost 5 years, have just done an incredible job.
Wild run.
That is so cool. And I hope you're so proud of yourself.
Yeah, I'm grateful. There's always room for improvement, which I'm growing, and each year I learn what worked and what didn't, and just always going back to the drawing board and never getting stale. I feel like stale is also something that people pick up on. And if you get, you know, stuck in your ways and you're not innovative, people feel that. So yeah, I think just constant growth.
Okay. I do want to ask a question. Do you have, previously you had leads, do you still buy leads, or are you just really like circle prospecting, like?
So we do very minimal leads. We don't buy them. Like, we'll take some referral stuff, and pay a referral fee on it. But really now, like year one, we thought we had to, and we realized the expense of it. And what we found is if you do the time and prospect or do client events or call your past SOI, and it has to be consistent. It can't be 30 minutes a day and done, right? Like, sometimes we're on the phone for 2 or 3 hours, right? And then we're dealing with other things that come day to day with the business, right?
Yes.
But I think making thoughtful calls. But yeah, we're not big into, like, we don't, you know, but I'm also an advocate. So honestly, I think if you're a new agent, and I don't know if there's platforms I can say, but I think, you know, I think that you do what you can, and you have to invest in yourself. You know, and if a great lead source came forth and I felt like it was worth it, I would pay for it. I think we're in a world now that anything, you know, if you see a return on it and it's significant and it allows you the opportunity to close a deal and pick up a referral that you don't have to pay on that, I think you do what you do. And I think every agent out there, your business is your business, and don't let anyone knock you down for it.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this industry, is that you really can work your business however you want. Yeah. But you said the secret sauce, which everyone's looking like, what is this? How can I be successful in this? And there's one answer, and it's consistency. Yeah. In whatever way you want to prospect, and whatever you do, like, one thing is to find what you love and enjoy doing. Yeah. So if you love and enjoy calling, like, your clients and having client events, like, you just have to be so consistent at it.
Well, I think too, you know, conversion is everything. If you're going to pay for, you know, some of these bigger platforms and get all these leads, but you can't convert, you are literally throwing money at the wall. Do not do that. Like, my advice to a new agent would be, get the skills you need to be able to sit down, have a thoughtful conversation, do a successful buyer consultation, understand when you're ready to take on listings. Don't do it prematurely, because I do feel you have to have a really great amount of confidence to do the job right as a listing agent, because it's such a different beast. But understand how to convert before you pay. And it may be paying for your education through a team of some sort for a short amount of time. But if you do the work, you'll see the return, and conversion is everything, because it gives you back more time.
Well, yeah, that actually is a really good point. You can get all the leads you want, but if you can't convert them, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So you got to look at why they're not converting, and it's probably most likely your skill set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, good point. How many I want to go back to the client events. How many client events do you think you have a year?
I do 4.
4?
So anywhere between 4 and 5.
Okay. I'm a big advocate for that too. I just think that it's such an easy, like, any way that you can bring value and joy to people.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like you really do that. Like, it's very intimate, the things that you are doing.
All tastemaker.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. So I just feel like any way that you can bring value to other people's lives, and that is making memories. Like, oh my gosh, JP's so awesome to hang out with. Like, wasn't that just a fun night to go listen to this band and backyard barbecue? Like, that is so fun.
We just have a lot of laughs, and it's just good banter. But yeah, I think the tastemaker events are everything. So, but you got to be good about getting the right clients together. Like, I wouldn't take just all of my clients and throw them together. Like, I'm going to take my transplants that are maybe from the Bay Area and New York, right, and bring them together because they moved here because of the same reasons I did. And then if I do something a little bit more family oriented, it's going to be a different experience.
Okay.
So I'm not going to just try to throw a bunch of people in a room in an awkward setting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very thoughtful about who's coming to those events.
Okay. All right. And I had a question and now I just forgot it. It was the client events. Sorry, Daniel. It was about the client events, and then you mentioned something. This is what happens. Okay. No, I can't remember. Is there anything that...
What did I say? I said
you talked
about client events, family events, being very particular about who comes to the events.
Yeah. Man, I think... Oh, I know what it is. Okay. Sorry. Okay, sorry, Daniel. Okay, so then you mentioned something a little bit earlier about referrals. And obviously, like, that's the best way to get new business, right, is the referrals. Do you train your friends, family? I know that sounds, like, bad. But, like, in a way, like...
Kind of.
You know, like, do you train them or do they just refer to you? Like, do you ask them for referrals? Because agents get hung up on that, too.
Yeah.
They get afraid of asking for referrals. So how do you navigate that?
As the wife of an owner of a digital marketing company, my husband is always very adamant about call to action on all my marketing pieces, and a lot of times, like, my newsletters. So I always remind people, for your referrals, like, we'll roll out the red carpet, give us the opportunity, like, referrals mean everything to us. Excuse me. And this year I'm getting really, really focused on how I think past clients for referrals, but also agents. I've noticed my agent database for referrals from other cities is growing exponentially.
Wow.
And so I get so many referrals from other agents. And it could be that maybe another agent from another city passed my name on. So just throwing this out there, if an agent's been good to you, treat them so well, because they will take care of you, you know. But I think, yes, you do have to train people, and it's not maybe training, but, like, remind them constantly, right? Yes. And I try to remind my friends too, like, remember, I'll call and interview agents for you. So I do help some of my friends too, help qualify their agents and find them, and that's also a referral fee. But we get calls often because people find us through different, platforms or reviews. We're very big with reviews. And people will pick up the phone and call us for past, client reviews. But I don't work in Nephi, but that's an easy referral. Mm-hmm. So, keeping those lines of communication open with other agents, but top of mind, I think always top of mind, and value. If you're reaching out, whether it's in mailer, email, call, text, each month, I think it should be each month, but if it's quarterly and people are seeing you're doing the time and the homework to provide data about different counties, you will be their expert. because not every agent is doing that.
Right. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, well, we're running out of time, but I do want to ask you a question. What would you tell your new agent self?
Be gentle on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself time. Don't quit early. I would say give yourself at least a year, maybe even 2 years minimum, and invest. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself.
Okay. I love that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so grateful to you.
Yeah, you too. I was scared, but you
Were
make
you?
it easy. Yeah.
You did not seem scared at all. Okay, well, I know you said you don't really get on social media, but where could people follow you?
So Jacqueline Perry Real Estate, you can go there and follow me. You can also check out my website, jacquelineperry.com. But yeah, I promise to do a better job on social in time. But again, I'm going to be patient with myself.
Yeah.
So.
That's wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.